0% contained. We have a very good response from 25 agencies working the fire currently. We have 68 boots on the ground. Our concern today is that the wind may shift. It's currently coming out of the northwest going towards the east. If it shifts and comes out of the east and the fire starts to move towards the west, then it's heading into Golden, and that's why we're concerned, and we have so many troops responding and helping us out with this fire. We got some hazards on the mountainside. It's very steep. There's some loose rock, there's very heavy brush, there's even rattlesnakes up there. So obviously safety is our top concern for the firefighters and everybody that's helping us out with the fire. One thing that we do want to mention, drones cannot be flying over this fire. Absolutely not. They are banned from the fire scene. We want to make sure that there are no drones up in the air. What will happen is the helicopters that are doing their water drops will have to stop their operations if a drone is in the air above the fire. So we would like to get that word out. We do have 2 helicopters that are going to be helping us with water drops. Currently, 32nd Avenue is closed from Coors to McIntyre. And when we are doing those water drops and the helicopters are dipping into a lake just east of McIntyre, we're going to be shutting McIntyre down at 32nd Street periodically throughout the day as well. That's pretty much our update. You can keep informed by following Jefferson County Sheriff's Office on Twitter, as well as we're going to be activating our emergency blog on the Sheriff's Facebook page. And I can answer any questions you might have.
Can you talk a little bit more, Jenny, about the weather conditions and that wind that you're worried
Sure
about?
Can.
Why that's such a concern?
Absolutely. So this fire started about 3:30 yesterday, and last night the wind shifted. And it shifted, and it was coming out of the east. It was blowing the fire to the west. And that's our top concern, obviously, because we're close to Golden. And that's why we have so many agencies responding today to keep the fire within the perimeter that it's at right now and to keep it away from Golden.
What about the brewery? Where does that stand in all of this?
The brewery's in pretty good shape. The fire did creep close to 32nd Avenue, but the brewery is protected. It's cement, it's steel, and that's in pretty good shape. So we're not really concerned about the brewery. However, if the wind shifted and the fire starts creeping back to the west, there are some houses in that area that we would be concerned about. And of course, we would alert the homeowners of evacuation when we get to that step. If we get to that step, and we're obviously hoping that we don't. We do have a trigger point for that. There was a fire here in 2010 called the Silver Bullet Fire, and it left a scar mark up on the mountain. And if this fire creeps to that scar line, that's when we put people on the notification for evacuation. We tell them to stand by for evacuation at that point. But again, we have lots of troops working this. We have 25 agencies on this fire, and we don't believe that that's going to happen.
How does it compare where we are right now to maybe when the fire was at its biggest or its max point yesterday?
Yeah, so it's died down a little bit overnight. That's good. We're working in our favor. So right now we're just, again, trying to keep it within the perimeter. The perimeter is just east of that Silver Bullet scar that I was mentioning. And then there's a cliff at the top of the mountain. It's kind of at that cliff on the south side of the mountain, and then it's a little bit to the west. But we do have a marked perimeter, and we're keeping it within those lines.
You mentioned drones too. Have you had a challenge? Any people up here flying drones over, civilians flying drones?
We have not had that challenge. We just want to make sure that we don't run into that issue.
You mentioned terrain and rattlesnakes and things like that. Are there areas where you just can't have fire crews right now because of it?
I'm not sure whether or not I know we have to find some access points to get, especially to the top area on the south side where the cliffs are. We're working to get access to those areas. It's very steep, so obviously that poses an issue. But right now we're doing a really good job keeping this fire within its perimeter.
Do you have an update on the firefighter who was injured yesterday?
I'm sorry, I do not.
Just one injury, though, so far?
Correct.
Any idea about cause?
No, we're unsure of the cause. We do have some investigators here from the Sheriff's Office, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that.
I don't know whether you know anything about this, but some of the customers from Excel who lost power overnight in Golden, anything on that? Can you update us?
I do know that there's been some issues. There's a couple of power lines along 32nd Avenue. I believe there was one pole that's down, and there's a second pole that might be in danger. That's about where we're at with the power. Mm-hmm.
Major challenge then today, the wind and the weather again.
Again, the wind right now is pretty calm. It's about 8 to 10 miles an hour. We're hoping it stays that way. There may be gusts up to 20 miles an hour. And obviously that's our biggest concern with any fire is the wind. And we just want to make sure that we keep this contained. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Thanks very much.